Ms. Yeo Wan Ling.
Madam Deputy Speaker, there has been movements around the world throughout the decades that have sought to alleviate and empower women. Yet even then, there are certain ridges and differences within these very movements. Some invoke race, others invoke class, and sometimes these movements discount, if not cannibalize one another. Indeed, a house divided against itself cannot stand, and this cannot be for the case of alleviating and empowering women, especially in a year we have declared as the year of celebrating SG women. I know that even if I stand here speaking in Parliament today about a motion on women's interests submitted also by a woman, that we are all standing on the shoulders of giants. Broad are the shoulders of the sisters who have gone before us, and there are always space for more. And we welcome the solidarity the Workers' Party has shown in picking up arms to join our ongoing ascent to alleviating and empowering women. Willing to listen, willing to put in the hard work, and willing to look ahead. These are principles on which the labor movement has moved to organize our society's resources and shake up cultural mindsets to alleviate and empower our Singapore women in the workplace. In this movement for women workers we have forged, I'd like to remind us of its decades-long importance as we look to chart the next few decades to come for our women in the workplace. On being willing to listen, the year is 1973, and women are stepping up in full force to work in paid employment roles, especially with exciting foreign direct investments flowing into Singapore. Much like today, women are going on the ascent in their own right, and the taste of empowerment gave us the confidence and momentum to traverse through barriers that might have still stood in our way. Sister Annabella Sim, then just 21, a visionary whose form many of us take after today, came the first founding chairperson of the NTUC's Women's Committee, and I would say the first female elected to our Central Committee. She said, through the Central Committee, I hope to bring about parity treatment with equal wage for equal work for women. Annabella and her team of unionists started their journey with an ear to the ground, consulting with working women to identify their primary concerns. They discovered that after making their first forays into the workforce, women would often leave their jobs after starting a family. This was merely what was expected of us in the household then as women. Our unionists and sisters listened, and they took to heart. This birthed out pioneering efforts by women in the labor movement to provide childcare support and helping women rejoin the workforce. On being willing to put in the hard work in response to women's waning labor force participation rates after childbirth years, Mrs. Yu Fu Yishun and the unions took over and expanded the then Department of Social Welfare's 10 childcare centers. The labor movement started NTUC Childcare in 1977 to shoulder the burdens of women who felt the need to leave their jobs early on in their careers without support for childcare. NTUC Childcare scaled the number of these childcare centers to double-digit figures within a couple of years. We drove fundraising efforts to establish new centers, as well as contended for government subsidies to keep childcare fees easily affordable for parents. Today, the seed Mrs. Yu Fu had sown over 50 years ago is what is known today as NTUC First Campus, which continues to provide affordable childcare through its 160 preschool centers island-wide and 9 primary school-based student care centers serving more than 20,000 families. Pioneering and building our childcare infrastructure was no small feat, and this is an ongoing work in progress. In 2019, our Women's Wing put up a position paper titled Supporting Parenthood and Young Families. Our PM acknowledged the importance of a good preschool and how it provides many long-term benefits in life, and the government has steadily improved the accessibility, affordability, and quality of preschools. Childcare subsidies were further enhanced in 2020, and the number of full-day childcare and infant care centres have risen from 140,000 to 190,000. The long-term plan is to cap our preschool fees so that the full-day childcare will be the same as primary school fees plus after-student care fees. On being willing to look ahead, in the mid-2000s, Singapore was met with a sustained shortage of labour, as well as an ageing population problem looming around the corner. Not only was this a golden opportunity for us to usher women back into the workforce, but it needed to be delicately balanced with strong support for women to start families. The labour movement has helped women re-enter the workplace as early as the 1990s. And through the years, we have evolved our programs to keep with the zeitgeist of the times. As the director of the Women's Program back then, our president, Halimah Yaakob, and the Women's Committee started a Back to Work program in 2007 to create new opportunities for women in the workplace. The program, with a robust strategy including recruitment, readjustment, and retention plans for women's return to the workforce, was intended for the benefit of future generations. With its introduction, we saw the consolidation of best practices in training, counseling, and job placements, as well as the promotion of flexible work arrangements. With these best practices, we filled the Employment and Employability Institute to do its good work in matching workers with employers. With this forward-looking vision, we promoted companies to provide facilities for breastfeeding mothers. Over the years, the Back to Work program has helped more than 28,000 women return to work and provided training to more than 30,000 women. Today, building and evolving on the work the labour movement has advocated for, flexible work arrangements is the new norm, and we continue to work with our tripartite partners to implement and redesign jobs to enable women to return to work. Companies such as Lesson, a catering and canteen operator, now have 50% of their workforce comprising of women returning to work on redesigned flexible work hours. Indeed, in the area of workplace harassment, the tripartite partners have also drawn up a tripartite advisory on managing workplace harassment. NTUC has also developed a workplace harassment prevention policy to be adopted and adapted by companies, and indeed, both are promoted by TAFEP. For progressive companies with the labour movement family, they are guided by workplace harassment clauses in their collective agreements. Our unions and women leaders represent both women and men in harassment and grievance cases. But the work does not stop here. We continue to listen, work hard, and prepare for the new work norms. We are only eating the fruits of the trees planted by those who have come before us, and we will continue to plant trees for those to come. The enterprise, tenacity, and vision of our women who had gone before us indeed laid the foundation for the work we continue today, and we are glad to have reinforcements even across party lines to continue their good work. As we consider the motion filed for the whole of society approach in empowering women, we say, let's do it. And let's continue to do it the way we have been doing it for years, being willing to listen, willing to put in the hard work, and willing to look ahead. Those core principles will continue to shape our success. Decades later, though the challenges women face have evolved and formed due to the myriad opportunities made available to women, we must continue to put our ears to the ground, be good listeners, and be able to roll with the punches. Policy measures that look good on paper sometimes only look good because they are overly convenient and fail to consider repercussions downstream. To this we say, let's continue to innovate solutions and undertake them even if they seem difficult, because that's the diligence our women deserve. And finally, let's be willing to look ahead together and not be transfixed on the quick fix, but the long game. While whole societies begin to alleviate and empower women, women begin to alleviate whole societies to greater heights than before. Welcome to the movement.